Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Dare County August the 16th Dare County Board of Commissioners meeting. At this time, I'd like to call forward George Laurie from the Jewish community of the Outer Banks for an invocation. Welcome this evening, George.
All right. Just one little comment. I'm not a jacket person. I always like shorts, but the white and the pink are just, and then I look on the film and it's just as white. Goodness gracious. All right. First of all, I want to thank the Dare County Commissioners for allowing members of the North Dare Ministers Association to open each of your meetings with a prayer. With a noticeable rise in rhetoric across the country related to the surge in COVID cases and the upcoming return to school of our children, and with an interesting tourist season winding down, I thought I might indulge those present with some thoughts as they relate to the upcoming Jewish high holidays. Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, over a span of 10 days, beginning this year right around Labor Day, have two major themes that we need to recognize and pray about. Rosh Hashanah reminds us that Almighty God, in Genesis 3:22, gave all human beings the unique knowledge of good and evil. Maimonides in the 12th century called this free will. Each of us at any moment has the ability to do what is good or what is evil, or anything in between. It's a wonderful but dangerous power in our hands. On Yom Kippur, Jews are advised that the window of opportunity is about to close on this 10-day period where we can make amends with those we have treated poorly. While God absolves us of the sins between God and ourselves, only by asking the forgiveness of others we have wronged can we attempt to correct our mistakes of the past year. If we do a good job, God will hopefully keep us alive to repeat this process a year from now. You don't have to be Jewish to follow the logic of these lessons. Think before you act, endeavor to make the best choice in every situation, learn from your mistakes. Saying you are sorry for even the most trivial of acts is good in the eyes of God. Make an effort to be a better person every day. In this context, that I offer the following prayer. Blessed are you, Lord our God, sovereign of all, who has kept us alive, sustained us, and brought us to this season. We thank you and sing your praises for our lives which are in your hand, for our souls which are in your keeping. You are goodness, you are compassion, you have always been our hope. Be with these commissioners and others who serve Dare County on a daily basis. Guide them in what continues to be the challenge of a lifetime. Soften their hearts and open their minds so that every decision they make is the right one. Humble them to realize they are all human and make mistakes, because the residents of Dare County will respect them even more. Almighty God, grace us with your light when our path grows dark, with your strength when we grow weary, and with your support when we falter in all resolve. King of the universe, you have commanded us to do your work for the betterment of the Outer Banks. May this be God's will, and all God's people say, Amen.
Amen.
Thank you. Stay safe. Have a blessed day.
Thank you, George. May we stand for the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
County Manager.
Sir, Mr. Chairman, item 1 on the agenda is the chairman's opening comments.
Thank you, County Manager. Got several items, bear with me this evening, some a little bit lengthy here, to go over with you this evening. Last week, we reached a major milestone. This first one's COA, Dare Campus. We reached a major milestone in the ongoing construction of the College of the Albemarle's brand new academic building right here in Manio when the roof panels on the main roof of the building were officially completed. We're supposed to have a video here, but I'm not sure what's going on. According to Barnhill Contracting, all they need to do now is to finish up seaming the roof panels, and then they will move on to a low roof on the east side of the building that still needs to be installed. But the roof panels on the main roof are now complete, and that's a huge accomplishment. And if you've driven by the facility lately, you'll know that they've made a ton of progress in the past couple of months. And the facility is starting certainly to take shape. The folks over at Barnhill have also let us know that the east, south, and west elevations also now have sheathing, weather barrier, and insulation installed, and that the north elevation is currently undergoing insulation installation. The construction crews are also in the process of installing drywall, and the one side of the walls is on the second floor, and the following that they will have in an in-wall inspection for the second floor, which is supposed to hopefully happen sometime this very week. After that, they will start hanging both sides of the walls, and then the same work on the first floor will come directly afterwards. The sequence of work to start on the second floor and then move to the first floor. They move second floor to first floor. I wish I could explain why, but it works for them. I'm excited to report that as of today, the project is 55% complete. We're still on target to complete the whole facility by March of 2022, which would be certainly in plenty of time for students to start in the fall of 2022. We're over halfway done bringing the incredible new facility to life, and with the construction of the main roof now complete, the sky's the limit for the future of the construction of the new COA facility. Quite a facility for us here in Manio. Second item I have, just want to bring you up to date that the NC-12 task force as well as the stakeholders continue to meet on a regular basis. And the stakeholders last week started the process with the county manager to start looking at prioritizing the 7 hot spots in 12. So that's an ongoing project, and we're excited about bringing something back to the board with respects to that. I know that the next meeting of the actual task force will be this week. So stay tuned to that, and we'll keep you posted on the progress of the NC-12. Next item I have is Dare County has lost another one of its Dare County senior residents. Miss Murray Utz, she was 8 days from turning 90 years old. Her birthday was today. I had the honor of going to her funeral this afternoon. Really got to know Murray over the last 2 years at Spring Arbor. My mother, who is approaching 96 years of age, was there with Murray. Murray kind of took Mother under her wing when Mother first went there 2 years ago. And she was a great supporter, a great individual who encouraged my mother to do things in the facility, and Murray certainly will be sorely missed. She was born on August the 16th of 1931. She was the youngest of 4 children. She served in the United States Navy from 1952 to 54, and she later held a position in the Pentagon, where she served for several years before she resigned to raise her family. She later retired from the Fairfax County Police Department, where she enjoyed many years as a desk sergeant. Her retirement led Murray to the Williamsburg area in Virginia, where she reveled in costume during the summer months at Busch Gardens while holding a job in public relations. She has two sons that live here on the Outer Banks, Jack Utz and John Utz. She had 6 grandchildren and 4 great-grandchildren. And God rest your soul, Murray. What a sweet, lovely lady. Will be sorely, sorely missed. Next item I have is Dare County, you've probably read, will soon offer COVID booster shots to those with compromised immune system. On the 15th of this month, Dare County Department of Health and Human Services announced it's now accepting registrations for an additional COVID-19 booster shot for individuals with moderate and severe immune compromise who have received the initial 2-dose vaccine series. Following endorsements from the FDA and the Advisory Committee on Immunization Practices, the CDC, the North Carolina Department of Health and Human Services, has now endorsed the use of an additional dose of COVID-19 vaccine. The age groups authorized to receive the additional doses are unchanged from those authorized to receive the primary vaccination series, Pfizer, BioNTech for those 12 years and older, and Moderna for those 18 years and older. So I would suggest you go on our website and register online at www.darenc.com/register, the number 4 vaccine. You'll receive a call between August the 17th and the 19th for an appointment for the week of August the 23rd. If you're not sure about treatments associated with the moderate and severe immune compromise, look on our website and certainly consult your primary physician. So that's another positive for Dare County. And the last item I have this evening is last Wednesday, August the 11th, Dare County senior leaders, which are the mayors of the 6 towns, our sheriff, Dowdy, our park service superintendent, Halleck, myself, and Commissioner Couch, who represents Hatteras Island, met with our Health and Human Services Director, Dr. Davies, to discuss the escalating numbers of COVID-19 cases in Dare County. Now, these discussions focused on the county's high level of community transmission, the elevated metrics, and the impacts that it's having on our local community. While county-specific data is not available regarding the Delta variant, initial findings indicate that 95% of regional cases that have been sampled contain the Delta variant. It's estimated that for every person infected with the Delta variant, it may spread to potentially 6 other individuals. There is concern that the number of positive cases in our community will continue to increase. The first week of August, which was August the 2nd through the 8th, 2021, having the 3rd highest number of new cases since COVID-19 pandemic began, some businesses have closed temporarily in order for their staff members to be tested and to follow recommendations for cleaning and sanitizing to ensure safety. In addition, some clusters of the virus have been reported following gatherings of various sizes. The number of positive cases has skyrocketed in recent weeks. We now experience widespread community transmission. Last week, the total number of new positive cases reported in Dare County was 226. This is the third highest week of new positive cases since the pandemic began. As part of the conversations with the senior leaders, last week we talked about measures being taken to protect employees and members of the public while they are inside our buildings. And at the recommendation of our director, Dr. Davies, we all agreed that consistent policies are needed across the jurisdictions. That led to requirements for face coverings to be worn indoors at all buildings operated by the county beginning Thursday afternoon, August 12th. This requirement, please note, is consistent with the recommendations from the CDC and the North Carolina Department of Health and Human Services that face coverings should be worn by everyone indoors in areas of substantial or high transmission. Additionally, visitors to the Cape Hatteras National Seashore, Fort Raleigh National Historic Site, and the Wright Brothers National Memorial are required to wear a face covering inside all park buildings. The requirement to wear face coverings in county buildings, as well as all the towns, is an effort not only to protect members of the public, but also our Dare County employees, many who work in areas with high traffic, such as the Register of Deeds office, the tax office, the courthouse. The number of people that go into a courthouse on a weekly basis, daily basis, is unbelievable. Our libraries, and the number of folks that go to our parks and recreation facilities. Last year, when protocols were in place and everyone was consistently practicing the 3 W's, wear, wait, and wash, the number of COVID-19 cases was much lower. 18 positive cases a year ago, last week to be exact. This shows that these strategies work in protecting ourselves, our employees, and others within our community. Everyone is also strongly encouraged to get vaccinated and return to the practicing of the 3 W's. Wear a mask, wait 6 feet apart, and wash your hands often. The 3 W's are proven methods to protect all of us and prevent the spread of this deadly virus. Detailed information regarding COVID-19 in Dare County, including how to get vaccinated, can be found at www.darenc.com/COVID-19. Now, if you have specific needs or questions, you may call the Dare County COVID Call Center at 252-475-5008 from 8:30 in the morning to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday. This move by the towns and the Dare County Board of Commissioners was the right thing to do at this time. County Manager, that completes the Chairman's comments.
Mr. Chairman, item 2 on the agenda is public comment. Ladies and gentlemen, now's the time that's been set aside for public comment. If you have public comment this evening and you've not signed up, raise your hand. I'll recognize you. When I do, please come to the podium, state your name and where you're from. Please limit your comments to 5 minutes. There's a green light on the podium that will come on when your time begins. There's a yellow light that will come on when you have about a minute left, and there's a red light that will come on at which time you need to conclude your remarks. On my sign-up sheet, the first person I have is George Lurie.
George, welcome again.
Welcome. Thank you. Thanks for the opportunity to speak. And I need to apologize for not doing any research as it relates to my comments. Infrastructure seems to be a big deal these days, and it got me to think about Dare County infrastructure, such as our magnificent schools, our wonderful hospital, our community college, which is in the process of being expanded as a result of your efforts, our own dredge, which should be coming online shortly, and the millions of dollars that has been expended on beach nourishment. All these efforts have made Dare County a viable place to live and a viable place for tourists to visit. But the other big deal that became even more apparent was the fact that we still have no relatively low-cost places to house temporary and even full-time residents. I know you've worked with NC State, as is Twitty and Company, to study all aspects of tourism and our economy, and I know all of you spent at least 2 years trying to figure out how to convince homeowners to make more rental space available. But I see very little progress being done. So while I make these comments to the entire Board of Commissioners and its support staff, the question's really for Chairman Bob Woodard, because he and I occasionally exchange emails. And my question is, why can't we make a major effort to Dare County's infrastructure by building on, then owning, and perhaps later selling a parcel of land on which will be constructed a significant number of 1- and 2-bedroom apartments? Please don't tell me about zoning issues as you figured out how to pay for beach nourishment. Don't tell me about the costs as you built new school after new school and assisted with some of my earlier mentioned expenditures. You figure out how to borrow monies and change tax rates, yet my taxes are still awesomely low. I would gladly pay more taxes to solve this seemingly unsolvable problem. As an aside, I'm confident you could figure out what to do with a new population center and its impact on existing schools, so I don't think that's a brick wall issue. Is there an opportunity to work with Saget Construction to get an above-board win-win here? As an engineer, I sometimes had to think outside the box, but I believe it's really time to think outside the box. Our local businesses are being stretched to their limit, and next season doesn't appear to be any better. The situation calls for some extraordinary action. I thank you for your time.
Thank you, George, and I'm happy to exchange this over the phone or even in person in meeting with you and share with you what our board is currently undertaking with respects to workforce and essential housing, and I'm happy to do that with you, and I will get with you after this meeting.
Okay.
Or first thing in the morning.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Next on the list is Ray Hollowell.
Welcome again, Mr. Hollowell.
Good to be here, Mr. Chairman. Good to be here. Thank you for the opportunity. Last time I was here, I had the opportunity to meet you briefly as you were talking to Miss Dorothy, and we discussed briefly about some possibilities of maybe trying to save the taxpayer in Dare County maybe $3 to $6 million and possibly $6 million. Didn't know, but that was of interest to you. And you were going to give me a call, and you're a busy guy. I know that for sure, and so I appreciate the opportunity to meet with you tomorrow. However, that eliminates about 2.5 weeks off the scheduling of this thing. And as far as meeting the needs of this
bid at the end of this month and coming up. But as I understand, it'd be relatively easy because of the time frame that's involved here. It'd be easy to amend that and stretch it out for another month if you chose to do that. I've been told that by various and sundry people that are involved in the process. But the 3 to 6 is a possibility, and we definitely have the sand to do this, Mr. Chairman. And the other things that are important relative to this exercise are the economics of it. If you start checking the boxes, check the box, we got the economics covered. We can meet it within the time frame we're talking about, and then save you some money, as I've indicated 3 weeks ago and as I am now. Secondly, the environmental concerns. When you're dealing, Mr. Chairman, onshore, there's a lot less to deal with in terms of offshore and all the other issues you have to contend with there in terms of the archaeologists and the turtles and those type of things. We don't deal with any of that. Nada, none. So the fact that we're onshore, that makes it a whole lot easier for these things to take place. Federal fish and wildlife values, we certainly can meet those needs that are positive in a positive sense. And so I think that and the one that's the most important to the citizens of not only the Avon, but Buxton, Frisco, all the way to Hatteras, is the need for speed. We can provide the need for speed. As I have indicated all along, and I'd mentioned to Bobby a couple of years ago, and the fact that we have this material accessible today, and we can get it done, subject to meeting the speed needs in a relatively short period of time. But I can promise you that everybody that's in Avon, Buxton, on the lower end of Hatteras Island, they would love to see 2 years worth of storms sort of held at bay, or the thought of holding them at bay. That meaning this year and next year. And we can do that. We can do that as a matter of sitting down and talking about it and said, okay, let's think out of the box. Let's get out of the box. Let's get away from some of the traditional stuff that's been done in the past. But right now, something that can be done immediately, and that can happen. So, and we've talked to people about the utilization of our material. We've talked to them about the utilization of the sand, whether it meets the needs. Let me just say this. We are definitely in the ballpark, if you will, in terms of compatibility with the stuff that's offshore. And certainly why don't we do this? Let's let the locals participate in this thing. Now, I don't consider myself a local, although I've spent 25 years here and built a business and raised a family and various and sundry other things and played a little hardball and whatever else. But we certainly have the ability to respond in this fashion of getting this done. There are some people in, Mr. Chairman, down in Buxton, if anybody deserves the ability to participate in this and benefit from it, they do, because they've been to hell and back for the last 40 years, as you know. 40 years has taken them to get up there, and I've got 38 seconds left. So that being the case, we can get a whole lot of activity. We could probably have on everybody's desk maybe 100 letters. I've been told that from people who would like to modify and get motivated towards looking at this consideration for the two considerations. I don't do this myself. I am far from an engineer, but Mark Bissell, who is a professional in every sense of the word, he's done a phenomenal job with this. So in summary, we've got the material, and the infrastructure stuff is something that everybody is just, as we just heard the pastor talking about, is certainly a priority item these days. And Hatteras Island is, if there's any place that needs infrastructure, Hatteras Island does as a national seashore. And there are certain ways to do that are just a little bit out of the box. That being the case, I appreciate the opportunity to chat with you tomorrow morning, sir.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Hollowell.
Yes, sir.
no one else has signed up, would anyone else like to speak at public comment? Yes, ma'am. Please state your name and where you're from.
Hello, my name's Janine Emery, and I'm new to the area. I live here in Manio. I guess first off, I just wanted to say that and commend you and thank you for the fabulous job that you did at the beginning of the pandemic. Were you able to close everything off and, keep everybody safe and protected? And also, as George has stated, all the other wonderful things that you've done with the schools and the hospitals. So I guess right now my concern is also about affordable housing. And I know that it's been an issue here for a long time, and I know that I'm new to the area. But I think it is important, though, at this time, you guys all know the things that you've been able to accomplish together so far, right? So this truly is something that you can do and get done, and I think it really is time to act now. That's all. Thank you.
Jimmy, can I ask you a question?
Sure.
Were you familiar with the project in Manio that was proposed?
The one on Bowsertown Road?
No, behind CVS?
Behind, yes, I was at the planning board meeting for that.
Okay, but did you attend the Board of Commissioners meeting to voice your opinion?
No, I didn't. We just recently moved my
Oh, okay.
90-year-old mom in with us, so I've kind of been, juggling a
Gotcha.
few hats there. But no, I would, yeah.
Just curious, because that was a project that was
Yes.
shot down 3
I know.
times.
I know.
By the leadership
And
of the
I
town of
was-
Manio.
And I
Yeah.
understand the issues behind that too, right? Let's face it. The thing is, everybody wants something somewhere, but nobody wants it in their backyard.
Thank you very much.
So that's truly the bottom line, right?
Oh.
That's right.
Now, you guys have a massive amount of money, you know what I mean? This area is, come on, really wealthy, right? So I don't know what it looks like, and trust me, that's not my thing, right? But I know that you guys can do it, and it needs to be done. It
We're already
really
working
does
on
for the
projects
entire
for it.
community.
We are working on projects.
I know you are, but
It takes
yeah.
time.
It takes
Soon.
time, and
Right.
this board has worked diligently for almost 2 years now, and we're closer than we were,
well, that's good.
but, something is going to happen. But as Commissioner House said, it takes time. It takes time. And we got to dot every I and cross every T to be able to make sure we can get it done properly. So
Right.
stay
Yeah,
tuned, if you will.
I will, definitely.
And continue to go to Manio and encourage them to do as well.
There you go.
Thank you.
Please.
Yeah, I
encourage your
was there.
friends.
Believe me, I spoke there as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else like to speak at public comment? Is there anyone in Buxton like to speak at public comment?
No comment from Buxton.
That, Mr. Chairman, we close the public comment and move to item 3, which is a reimbursement resolution for the Series 2021B limited obligation bonds. And Dave's going to make that presentation.
Good evening, Dave.
Good evening. This piece of debt is for the county's share of the town's beach nourishment project for Kitty Hawk, Southern Shores, Duck, and Kilo Hills. It's also, as you had in your capital improvements plan, a piece for the Justice Center, so we can have something to pledge as security for the debt. It's not pledged under any bond documents right now. The Town's Beach Nourishment had pre-bid conference last Thursday. The bids are scheduled to be open on August 31st. Right now, the model shows that the county share is $12,315,868.
Dave, what is your opinion on the validity of that estimate? I know it's not final. I know it's a pre-bid. I know we don't have bids until the 31st.
Actually, we talked with Ken Wilson today. Bobby called him. He seemed very comfortable with his estimates because
Yeah.
he updated them a couple of weeks ago based on new surveys and cubic volumes. Now, one thing that I was going to add at the end of this, there's been some changes to his estimates. Kitty Hawk, Southern Shores, and Duck have all increased in cubic yards a little bit. Killville Hills has decreased by $2,759,000.
And the
Their
proportion of the cost our 12,300,000 would represent is approximately half? Is that what we have been
Less than
A little
half.
more, a little more than that in Kitty Hawk, but
If you take out the FEMA money and you take out the state grant money, then we're at half.
Okay.
Because three of the, I'm sorry, I'm not remembering. Two of the towns or three of them have a FEMA project. I believe it's two. And then each one of them got a state grant.
Right.
So the total's low $40 million, 42, I think. And then you deduct the FEMA projects, that what FEMA's gonna fund, you deduct the state grants, then take what's left over, and our share is about half.
So 18 million of FEMA grants and federal money, 24 million net, 12 million ours, 12 million towns.
Right.
That's what I was searching for. Okay, thanks, guys.
that's not across the board, Rob. It's very.
In total.
Per town. That's what it is on total.
No, that's what I meant. I just
Okay.
was, I know the towns vary. I was thinking of total. Thanks. Yeah.
But as I said, Kill Hill's estimate just went down by 2.7 million. Our share of that is almost $1 million, 988,000. So our number right now, I just got the spreadsheets this afternoon, so we haven't updated any of this, is around 11.4 instead of the 12.3. The other thing that's happened in this is, in the meantime, since you adopted the capital improvements plan, the county manager's been contacted by the clerk of court and a judge about clerk of court carpet and sound panels in 3 of the 4 courtrooms. They're in the shape that they need to be done, so it's either included in this or pay for it out of general fund contingency or appropriated out of the capital fund. If we do it in this, it's gonna help with bond counsel, because I've had some discussions with Scott Leo in that if we add things that we can call improvements instead of repairs and renovations, and the larger number he's dealing with for the facility that you're granting the deed of trust on, the more comfortable he is. So our recommendation is to add those items into this, and then also add some improvement items to the roof, change the carpet replacement to carpet tiles like these, where you could just replace 1 square at a time, and then sound panels, change them from regular sound panels to the type that you'd only have to replace the fabric in the future, not the entire panel. So that would take it up to $323,768, which is $325,000 of bonds, and that increases the debt service over 5 years by $177,000. The model at the end of June compared to what you had available, or the information you had available, which was actuals through April when you adopted the plan, the model's $1.1 million better than that because of the land transfer tax. So the other two, there were 2 changes. One was the Kill Hills estimate, and the other one is this isn't going to be a limited obligation bonds. Bond counsel says we're working with a whole new set of documents since the courthouse is not pledged. So this is going to be an installment financing contract with a bank with a whole new set of documents. So what we're asking you to do is to adopt the attached reimbursement resolution, which is needed so we can go ahead and get started, and it'd be IRS acceptable for us to spend money on the project before we issue the bonds or incur the debt. And then adopt the capital project order for the Justice Center improvements, but we won't act on any of those Justice Center improvements until after we open the bids on the beach nourishment and make sure everything's okay, and that's going to move forward.
Dave, so this is not part of the limited obligation bonds, the Justice Center. It'll be a separate financing, as you're explaining.
It'll
Yes.
be one financing, because we need the Justice Center to pledge as security for the whole thing.
Okay, I understand what you just said, but a minute ago I thought you said it was a separate
Well,
finance.
we're just changing it from bonds to a private placement with a bank, and it'll be called an installment financing contract instead of limited
Both the
obligation.
beach nourishment and the Justice Center
Yes, sir.
combined
Right.
would be a private placement.
That's right.
That's the part I missed. Okay.
For our purpose, it's the same thing. You sign a note, you give a deed of trust. It's
Right.
just a different
Right.
mechanism.
Right.
Is that all you have, Dave?
Yes, sir.
We have a reimbursement resolution that we need to entertain. and capital project ordinance for the Justice Center. Bobby, you want to read that resolution
Gosh,
for the record?
I can't.
I know we have it in the agenda, but
Oh, you got it here, okay. Whereas the Board of Commissioners of the County of Dare, North Carolina, has determined that it is in the best interest of the county to finance one, beach nourishment projects in Duck, Kill Devil Hills, Kitty Hawk, and Southern Shores, and two, improvements to the county's Justice Center hereafter the projects. Whereas the county presently intends at one time or from time to time to finance all or a portion of the cost of the projects with proceeds of tax-exempt obligations, and reasonably expects to cause to be executed and delivered tax-exempt obligations to finance or to reimburse itself for all or a portion of the cost of the project. And whereas the county desires to proceed with some or all of the projects and will incur and pay certain expenditures in connection with the projects prior to the date of execution and delivery of the obligations, such original expenditures to be paid for originally from a source other than the proceeds of the obligation, and the county intends and reasonably expects to be reimbursed for such original expenditures from a portion of the proceeds of the obligations to be executed and delivered at a date occurring after the dates of such original expenditures. Now therefore be it resolved by the Board of Commissioners of the County of Dare, North Carolina as follows. Section 1, official declaration of intent. The county presently intends and reasonably expects to reimburse itself for the original expenditures incurred and paid by the county on or after the date occurring 60 days prior to the date of adoption of this resolution from a portion of the proceeds of the obligations. The county reasonably expects to execute and deliver the obligations to finance all or a portion of the cost of the projects, and the maximum principal amount of obligations expected to be executed and delivered by the county to pay for all or a portion of the cost of the projects is approximately $13 million. Section 2, compliance with regulations. The county adopts this resolution as a declaration of official intent under Section 1.150-2 of the Treasury Regulations promulgated under Section 103 of the Internal Revenue Code of 1986 as amended, to evidence the county's intent to reimburse itself for the original expenditures from proceeds of the obligations. Section 3, itemization of capital expenditures. The finance director of the county, with advice from bond counsel, is hereby authorized, directed, and designated to act on behalf of the county in determining and itemizing all of the original expenditures incurred and paid by the county in connection with the projects during the period commencing on the date occurring 60 days prior to the date of the adoption of this resolution and ending on the date of execution and delivery of the obligations. Section 4, effective date. This resolution shall become effective immediately upon the date of its adoption. This is the 16th day of April, 2021.
okay, pleasure of the board.
Move to adopt the resolution.
There's a motion on the floor by Commissioner House to adopt the resolution as presented.
I'll
Is there
second
a
it.
seconded by Commissioner Tobin? Any further discussion?
I just had one quick question.
Yes, sir,
again.
Commissioner.
Given the update, Dave, on the, was it Kill Devil Hills that had the adjustment to their
Yes,
expected cost of beach charge, should the resolution be 12 million instead of 13 million?
Well, it depends how much you trust us. It's a not to exceed number.
Okay.
And I left it at 13 because we'd already sent the letter to the notice letter to the General Assembly saying 13. I sent that
Okay.
about 2 weeks ago.
All right.
And if the bids come in different than anticipated, we have some room to maneuver.
Wiggle room.
Right.
Yeah, okay.
Right.
All right, any other questions? Then those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Motion carries unanimous. Thank you, Dave.
I do have
Thank
one
you.
question.
Yeah, absolutely.
And this might be the wrong time to ask it, and it might be the dumbest question you're gonna hear all day long. But Kill Devil Hills reduced the amount of money they were requesting. Was that based on a survey they did that they have
think it was the
more
survey.
sand on the beach now than they anticipated having when they applied for it?
I did not specifically ask Ken Wilson that question, but I got that from our financial advisors that, yes, they reduced the cubic yardage.
I talked to their manager, and she indicated that they didn't need to do as large a project as was originally anticipated because their beach had done better than they anticipated, so.
And the next question would probably be, Is it because maybe the nourishment projects to the north are sending sand to the south?
It could be, but if you assume that, then Nags Head wouldn't need to do one either. So-
Yeah, that's what I was
don't
kind
know.
of alluded to.
Yeah, it all plays together. How it plays together, nobody can tell you that.
Yeah, okay.
Thank you, Dave.
Chairman, that brings us to item 4. This is a follow-up from our last meeting, and it's a resolution in support of the Dare County Tourism Board Event Center concept. Commissioner Couch took on this proposal, and he and Dorothy worked through this resolution, and so tonight I'll present it to you. This is a resolution supporting the Dare County Tourism Board Event Center concept as presented August 2nd, 2021. Whereas Dare County has a tourism-based economy that has sustained our community for generations and celebrates the people, places, and activities that make our area special. And whereas Dare County tourism annually generates nearly $1.2 billion in direct spending, supports employment for everyone in three Dare County residents, that's 13,880 jobs, and generates $116.5 million in state and local tax revenues, thereby offsetting the tax burden of each Dare County resident by $3,146. And whereas Dare County tourism has proven to be an incredibly resilient economic engine despite many natural and man-made challenges, and whereas Dare County enjoys year-round visitation but relies on the summer months of June, July, and August for roughly 70% of its annual tourism business. And whereas this reliance on summer visitation makes Dare County vulnerable to business disruptions and creates other issues related to workforce, housing, and infrastructure that must expand and contract dramatically to accommodate the surge in summer business. And whereas a year-round tourism economy provides a more stable foundation for employment and county planning, and the Dare County Tourism Board was created to promote year-round visitation. And whereas the Dare County Tourism Board has demonstrated the potential for events to generate non-peak season visitation and recognizes the further potential for event development with the creation of an appropriately sized indoor facility. And whereas the Dare County Tourism Board has purchased property within the town of Nags Head that are suitable for the development of such a facility. And whereas the Dare County Tourism Board has funded consultant studies to evaluate and make recommendations regarding event use types, space requirements, financial and economic impact projections for a multi-use facility and event center. And whereas the Dare County Tourism Board appointed an advisory committee consisting of representatives from the Dare County Tourism Board, the town of Nags Head, the Outer Banks Hotel Motel Association, and the Dare County Board of Commissioners to formulate our recommendation for an economically viable event center capable of hosting groups of 300-plus people. And whereas the advisory committee unanimously recommended an event center building concept with a flexible, heated and cooled space of 48,275 square feet, an event hall capable of hosting sporting tournaments, concerts, banquets, trade and consumer shows, meetings, and other uses with groups of 300 to 2,500 people. And whereas the event center concept also contains a kitchen intended to service said events while providing culinary training opportunities for the community. And whereas the Johnson Consulting study that was conducted projected $25 million in new spending within the area, 191 new jobs created throughout the community, and nearly $1.2 million annual tax revenue by the 5th year of operation. And whereas the consultant study also projected an annual operating deficit of approximately $310,000 by the 5th year of operation. Whereas a multi-million-dollar return justifies the anticipated operating deficit. And whereas a hotel on Dare County Tourism Board owned property is not recommended because it places an added burden on septic and the site, and a hotel partner often requires a public subsidy. And whereas the Dare County Tourism Board voted unanimously in support of this event center concept, and whereas support of the concept allows further planning and consideration to take place with regard to the Town of Nags Head Unified Development Ordinance, North Carolina state regulators regarding septic and stormwater, and the Dare County Tourism Board and the Dare County government regarding event center construction and operations funding. Therefore, be it resolved that the Dare County Board of Commissioners hereby endorses on this day, August 6, 2021, and provides its support for the event center concept as was presented to the Board of Commissioners during its meeting on August 2, 2021. This is the 16th day of August, 2021.
Thank you, County Manager. Pleasure of the board.
Danny, could you make it?
I would move to adopt this resolution,
All
Mr.
right.
Chairman.
Thank you, Commissioner Couch. Seconded by Commissioner Ross. Floor is open for further discussion.
If I may, Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir.
I just wanted to recap a couple of key points that the consultants researched the feasibility of this multi-use center. No new hotel would be needed to support it. The primary goal of the multi-use center was to increase the shoulder season. I'm getting to something here, guys. Get ready. The consultant surveyed a number of groups and showed a large and positive response that said there could be a large number of events held in the facility in the Outer Banks. The North Carolina State Associations represent significant convention potential for us here in the Outer Banks. The building that would best serve Dare County should be a multi-use building of approximately between 40 and 50,000 square feet, and that finally, typically a multi-use center would require a subsidy, many of them do, of approximately just over $300,000 per year. You probably thought I was recapping the study we just did. That would be incorrect. I'm going back to something in the public comment where we talked about it takes time. Thanks to our finance director, he forwarded this to me a couple of weeks ago. That was all I read to you from the Dare County Tourism Board, July 14th, 1994.
Wow. Wow.
July 14th, only 27 years.
Wow.
Unbelievable. I read that, I looked at our current study, and Dave, thank you, sent me this, and I thought, are you kidding me? This is literally a mirror image of what we've come up with, and they wrote this 27 years ago. Let's hope we do this.
It will not take us 27 years to do affordable housing. No. I promise.
There you go. We're going to set the record.
Yes.
Anyway, I just thought that would be noteworthy, guys. Sorry.
Thank you, Commissioner. Any further discussion?
I would just add that there were members of the public on that advisory group as well.
Oh, yes.
Yep. All right, those in favor of the motion then signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Motion carries unanimous.
Chairman, Diane Bognick from the Tourism Board is here. I don't know if she.
Yeah, I was
Comment?
gonna ask
I'll
her
recognize you
if she would like
Hi, everyone. I'm here in place of Leah today. And I just want to say.
to come up to the mic.
Yeah,
if
we
you
can't
will.
hear you I'm sorry. Please.
Thanks, Dan.
Hi, I'm Diane. I'm here in place of Leah tonight. I just wanted to say thank you for all your support. It's been wonderful to work with all of you. It was wonderful having you on the committee, and
I'm not sure
we sure did a wonderful.
Just saying that.
The committee did a wonderful job of delving into a lot of information and everything. So the tourism board really does appreciate all of your support. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you, Dan. Appreciate it.
Mr. Chairman, that brings us to the consent agenda. And on the consent agenda, you have the approval of the minutes, you have the Southern Albemarle Association annual meeting invitation list, charge to the tax collector's report, the Dare County Transportation, the addition of a full-time driver, and the statewide mutual aid agreement.
Move to approve.
All right, there's a motion on the floor by Commissioner House to approve the consent agenda as it's presented. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Commissioner Tobin. Any further discussion? Hearing none, those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Motion carries unanimous.
Chairman, next on the agenda, but you may want to move it, I will need a motion for a closed session pursuant to NCGS 143-318-11A3 to consult with an attorney employed or retained by the county in order to preserve the attorney-client privilege and to approve the minutes of the last closed session, and this is with regard to the opioid litigation.
Okay, there's a motion to go into closed session
So moved.
by the
Second.
Vice Chairman. It's been seconded by Commissioner Bateman. Any further discussion? Hearing none, those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Motion carries unanimous. Call the Dare County Board of Commissioners meeting back to order and turn it over to the county manager.
In the closed session, the board approved the minutes of the last closed session and gave the county attorney guidance with regard to the opioid settlement. No other action was taken. Chairman, that would be your agenda.
Well, thank you, County Manager. That brings us to item 7, Commissioners' business. And manager and attorney's business. And Commissioner Bateman, would you kick that off tonight?
I'm just happy to be here. That's all I got to share.
Thank you.
To be here and not washing dishes, right?
Thank you very much. Vice Chairman?
I'm happy to be here too.
All right.
I don't have anything, Mr. Chairman, thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner House?
Thank you. Just a couple things. Our day in history, I would be remiss if I didn't say a personal day in history for me. This is the day that my youngest daughter was born. And she is now a very successful young lady and a mother herself. So Brittany, happy birthday. Also on this day in history, news headlines across the world, not just the nation, but across the world, said the king is dead. Elvis Presley died this day in 1977. He still influences various artists even to this day. And if anytime you listen to the radio, you'll at least hear at least one or not two of his songs being played over the radio still this day. So Elvis, rest well.
I'll tell you what, Commissioner, in the words of Louis Grizzard, Elvis is dead and I don't feel too good myself.
Thank you very much.
That's hard to believe. It's been 40-some years.
Yeah, it really does. And which also, Elvis's, one of his songs was Hound Dog, which leads us to the pet of the week, but we have a cat named Baby, so we're close.
Our pet of the week for this week is Baby. This incredibly sweet darling is 10 years young and was brought to the shelter as her owner was moving and could not take her along. Baby craves attention, and a lovely quiet home would be a great fit for her. She could possibly go home with another older, laid-back cat and would love if you had a nice perch for her to sunbathe on. To adopt Baby or foster one of our other animals, you can come visit us Tuesday through Sunday at our shelter located in Manteo. This week, join us at PetSmart Wednesday the 18th and Thursday the 19th from 12 to 3 p.m. We will have dogs, cats, and kittens available for adoption. For more information, visit our website at www.obxspca.org or visit our OBX SPCA Facebook page.
So please visit the new SPCA building, and hopefully you can check out Baby or any other animals they have there and give someone a forever home. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Ross?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm debating whether to step outside the county for a moment on this day. I don't know, I'm sure everyone's been watching the 24/7 news cycle. And each meeting, we begin the meeting with a Pledge of Allegiance. Many of us have said it so many times, we kind of just say it by heart and not really reflect on the words of one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all, or the words of our anthem. And I'll just excerpt: the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. We are indeed the land of the free and the home of the brave. In the context of the last 72 hours and the events in Afghanistan, I am both saddened, angry, and not sure how this was allowed to happen. So I'm not going to pursue it anymore, other than to say it's affected me personally quite deeply, and I don't pretend to speak for anybody else, but I often think about the words in that pledge and in that anthem and what it means to stand behind them, not just when it's convenient, but when it's tough. So I offer an honest and sincere prayer for the people right now, deeply in harm's way in Afghanistan, desperately trying to find safe passage out to avoid what could be a humanitarian disaster. That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Amen. And thank you for bringing that up, Commissioner Ross. It's a pretty sad day. Pretty sad day. Commissioner Tobin?
Okay, well, I should have a video for you of the
Dredge. Yes, the dredge.
And just some of the major milestones. The interior machinery equipment install started on July 28th. And the thruster motor installs and erection on the stern should be done by around August 12th.
That was a nice picture.
The
Wasn't up very long.
mid-sections are being attached to the stern sections, and it's coming along really nice. The bow sections are just about completed, and they should be, that's a picture of the midsection right there.
Is that the wheelhouse in the back underneath the crane?
No, the wheelhouse hasn't been started yet. It should be started and finished by November 4th. This is a stern section being flipped. They take them out on these massive cranes, roll them outside, flip them like they do our charter boats that are being built. It's pretty amazing to watch, actually.
Jim,
But when we get down there in September, all these sections will be attached together. That's the starboard stern section right there. And then this is the part on the left with the ladder is the mid-body, and that stern section will be lifted up and welded to it. That's the port side stern section.
Jim, is it fair to say we're still on track for the April kind of
Yep, still on
delivery?
track. This is the bow section. The bow section should just about be completed as we speak. Those tubes are where the bow thrusters go. These are the two stacks that go on the stern with the access ports, so you'll go in there and go down below. And there is the two stern sections attached to the mid-body.
That's an incredible picture right there.
Isn't that cool?
That is, yeah, that's impressive.
Jim, how much does that draw?
It'll draw about 5 feet.
5 feet.
Any news on the cutter head, Jim?
No, it does not use cutter heads. It uses
Not cutter, the
drag heads.
the drag head,
And
sorry.
the other big news is, I worked with Congressman Murphy and Senator Tillis's office. No, I take that back, Senator Burr's office, to expedite our FOIA request to be able to go make patterns off of the Corps' drag heads. And Congressman Murphy called me up the other day and said he was going to talk to Colonel Bennett. And shortly after that phone call, I received a call from Colonel Bennett. And Colonel Bennett said he was going to talk with the people down in Moorhead, or in Wilmington rather. And shortly after that, I got another call from Colonel Bennett saying that we could go down there, and what we want to do is go down there and take a digital scan of their drag heads and then be able to replicate them. And we found a company that can do that, and we found a company that can replicate them and make the castings and everything. So that was a huge step because we were really worried about drag heads. It was a struggle. So anyway, all good news. And
Yeah, absolutely.
that's basically all I got, except we had a really successful fishing tournament this week. We had 144 boats in the ladies tournament, and we had 99 boats in the billfish tournament with a purse of, I think, 1.2 million. So,
Wow.
good stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
Jim, when do the drag heads break?
Yes, the drag heads can break.
So when we get those made, are they gonna make several to
Oh,
have
yes.
as backups and that
Oh,
sort of thing?
yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, they actually will break off of the drag arm assembly and you lose them. Never good.
Well, good stuff. Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Couch.
Well, there's, for small business, there's light at the end of the tunnel. Here we are, August 16th, and things are going to start getting manageable. The latest variant aside, we are seeing a lot of people, just speaking about my district down there, District 4, there's a lot of trash being generated because people are eating in, they're eating at home, and restaurants, Irvin can speak closer to this than I can, but this is just what I see being out. But we're getting there where it's going to get to be manageable. The summer has flown because you take it one day at a time, just trying to get to the end of the day. And having counted the days that way, here we are at August 16th. Our kids will be back in school here 23rd, 25th. I don't forget what exactly the date is. Virginia sends a lot of people our way. Their school's going to be starting back up. So I think we're going to be in a position here where we might be able to breathe a little easier. It's been one heck of a summer, one heck of a ride. But I'm kind of glad to see what's behind us is now behind us. And that's really all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. All right, County Manager, that brings us to County Manager.
I don't have anything, Mr. Chairman.
All right, that's a first.
Yeah, that's different.
How about that? How about our Public Information Officer, Mrs. Hester?
No, sir, nothing's straightforward.
Yeah, we're almost batting 1,000 tonight. How about you, Mr. Clausen? Anything else from our Finance Director?
No, sir.
All right.
Wow.
Wow. With that being said, then I need a motion to adjourn until 9 a.m. on September the 7th.
So moved.
There's a motion by Commissioner Tobin, seconded by Commissioner House. Any further discussion? Hearing none, those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Motion carries unanimous.